Life is precious, and we all have the opportunity of living it to the fullest. Unfortunately, so few of us know how to manage it all. How do we account for our opportunities? How do we account for our time? How do we account for our relationships, health, spirituality, homes, finances, influence, and careers? How do we account for the one life we have to live? I am so glad you asked. In this program, you will find answers to all of these questions and more. Welcome to the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore.
What's happening, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of the Account for Your Life podcast. And today, here's what we're talking about. We're going to be picking up where we left off yesterday. So how to keep going when you get knocked down? You know how yesterday's podcast, it was get up and go. But here's the thing. You're going to start going. I'm going to start going. And then immediately something's going to knock you down. So let's talk a little bit about, kind of how life works and kind of how to navigate it so we can expect, so we can prepare for everything that's coming next. So yesterday, just like I said, we came on, got a little inspiration. Let's go. Yay. I was excited. I'm going. And bam, I get knocked down. I didn't get knocked out, but I got knocked down. And the knocking down was interesting because I've been a friend of mine that I'm working with, Darian, he hits me up yesterday, and because we're supposed to be doing some stuff. And I said, life is some interesting thing has been happening lately, and it's death. Death is lurking around the corner. I'm talking about just literally, you don't see it coming, and bam. Now it's funny because I think I was talking to my son Jacob this morning. I was talking to him a little bit about this, and I was like, I don't know the statistics of death. Good morning, Brittany. How are you? I don't know the statistics of death. But I wonder if the statistics of people dying is higher. I wonder. Because part of me says, no, because I'm older and maybe just more people are passing. But I don't know. It's just interesting. A very good friend of mine passed away, or she was found yesterday. Found. So I think she may have been passed away for a few days, maybe 4. And then, now, I didn't see this until this morning. My college basketball coach passed away last night. I'm looking around like, well, can a brother get a break? Now, what happened with my friend who passed away, who she was found yesterday? I'm not going to mention her name directly on here right now. But when I heard about like that felt like I got kicked in the stomach, because she had been helping me with some things, and she's a very amazing person, and to lose her right now, I was like, wow, this is mind blowing. All right, but we're talking about getting knocked down. So let's think of the worst that can happen to us. The worst that can happen to us, obviously, if we pass, then we don't even know we're gone. But the worst that can happen while we're here, a lot of times, is death. Just experiencing this idea of death. And then a lot of times it could be the loss of a job, loss of a business, loss of things. Let's think about it. The loss of things will knock each of us down at some point. Come on now, think about it. If your bank account was drained down to zero, good morning, Sonia. How are you? We're praying deeply for you, Sonia. Oh my goodness. And I know Sonia's been knocked down. The knocking down, what I'm discovering, man, come on now, it's almost like it's the pull up, it's the come up. It's like you ain't down, because this is for us, as especially kingdom entrepreneurs and people who have a message, people who have a calling, people who know that their life has been purposed, people who know that, there's greater that I know that I'm supposed to bring to the world. Let's now think of the hard times of a seed. I know, right? Hard times of a seed. What is the hard times of a seed? The seed is so tiny. That seed is so tiny. Good morning, Lucy. The seed is so tiny that the seed will be like, I'm going to be like I got a tree in front of my house, which I told this story before, but I'm going to tell it again. The tree had been cut down. Tree was meaning we had a bad storm after we moved in the house. So the tree had not, the tree hadn't, it was still small. It was still a tiny tree. And storm comes through, rips the tree apart. There's a little stump left in the tree. I remember having to pull away what was left of the tree. But here's the thing, there was roots. The roots was still in the ground. I'm looking at the tree. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there's like 5 or 6 tree limbs that became the tree. I'm looking at this tree like we thought the tree was gone. Now, we didn't pull the tree up from the roots. I didn't even understand trees or seeds back then. But now, if we just consider a seed, the seed is going to become a forest, not even a tree. Uh-oh. Yes, one seed can become a forest. Is that seed going to cry when all of a sudden nothing's happening? What about the caterpillar? The caterpillar, has visions of greatness, of being a butterfly, and but they don't know when is it going to happen? It's going to be a knocking down. That caterpillar has to almost die again in order to become who it is supposed to be. We're going to go through some knocking down in our life. Now, no one wants to go in no one's wishing for it. It's kind of like, Jesus talks about this when, what was the story I'm looking for? He talks about, oh my goodness. Oh, when people die, right? When people die, he talked about, folks are like, folks coming to him, hey, Jesus, can I come with you? I'm going to follow you to the end of the earth. He says, let's go. And they said, well, let me go to the funeral first. let me go check on my father died, my mama died, and my cousin died, my brother died, my sister died, my daughter died. He's like, well, come with me to paradise. Guys, you know what? Being knocked down never feels good. It never feels like something we should relish in. But you know what? Today, I'm going to relish in the knocking down that has occurred in my life and in all the people's lives that are around me. Because you know what? As I was listening to Dr. Miles Monroe this morning, I get a daily dose of Dr. Miles. I'm listening to Dr. Miles, and he's talking about this one thing. He's talking about gifts. He's talking about leadership. What's your personal leadership is what it's a teaching that was done. I think it was released about four years ago. And he was helping people to understand their personal leadership. And I remember when I first came into Dr. Miles and I started learning my personal leadership. Well, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know I had a gifting for leadership of anything, because all I knew of leadership was someone has to follow you. People have to be, Jay's a leader. No. You have to be a leader. You have to be a leader in your area of gifting. The seed, we just talked about the seed. There's a seed within all of us. That seed is your leadership. That seed is who God created you to be. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what happens in your life. You are still, and I'm still that seed. Whether I produce it or not. How do I know that? Man, it's a great story that he tells about driving on the Autobahn in Germany. And in driving on the Autobahn, you can go however fast you would like to go. Think about this. Everyone has a car, and that car can go. My car says 160. So a lot of cars probably say 160, 200. He was driving a car in Germany that could go 220. Now, when the manufacturer makes the car, are they telling a lie that whether the car can go 160 or 200 or 220 or not? Are they telling a lie? No, they're not telling a lie. It can, but here's the thing. There are imposed limits on all of us. There are imposed limits on what's going to happen to you and me that's going to keep us from moving to where we're going to be. Right? Here's one of the imposed limits. You're going to get knocked down. bam, something's going to happen, right? Someone's going to die. Things are going to show up in your life that you do not expect and you do not want. So if that is the case, then something has already placed a limit on you. He's talking about driving on the Autobahn, and he's driving on the Autobahn and he's getting to 60 and 80 and he's feeling weird because he's always driven a car with limits. I hate when the phone rings right when I'm doing this. He's always driven a car with limits, and his driver who let him drive says to him, "Hey man, you're not even driving fast. You can go as fast as the car says it can go." Many of us have been conditioned not to drive ourselves. Many of us have been conditioned not to allow the gift to come out of us because it just seems weird. It seems so interestingly hard, or life is knocking us down. But no, that's not the case. We can go faster. We have more giftings. We have more leadership in us. Now, here's the thing. He's driving the car. I'm gonna finish this story. We're gonna get out of here. He's driving the car, and he gets to 120. And his guide is looking at him like, "Well, what are you doing? Can you please drive the car?" So then he gets to about 150, and it was 125. He gets to 125. He thought he was good to go. Someone just went past him like he was not moving. And his guide says, "Look, if you're not going to drive, then I'll drive." He said, "No, I'll do it." And he says he gets to 170, and he says something happened. He said it was almost like he broke through. It was like, wait a second, this is real. This is possible. I've been held down all my life. I've been driving these cars, or I've had all these abilities. Let me ask you a question. What abilities? What abilities have you been holding on to? What giftings have you not allowed to come out? Like, look, I'm talking to myself, because even while I'm talking with you, I'm putting myself on notice. I haven't done enough. I have not allowed myself. I have not taken the governor off of myself to move. Well, just because someone died don't mean that you don't move. Just because things are happening that don't feel good don't mean that you're not supposed to go faster. Dr. Bounce gets to 170, 180, and he was just like, his life changed. 200 miles an hour plus driving. He says, "Wow, my life is changed. Now I get it." When God created us, he did not put a limit on you, meaning the only limits that we have are limits that's not you. So if it's not you, yes, there's a limit. But if it's you, there is no limits. So there is nothing that can knock you down. There is nothing that can take you away from you. And no matter what it is, whether it be sickness or death, whether it be losing all the things that we have, no matter what it is, whatever comes at you to knock you down today, like, I felt the hit. And after today, or after yesterday, what I realized is that I can't control those things. I cannot control what's going to happen in life. But what I can control is how it's going to happen through me. And because I control me, and because you can control you, then it doesn't matter what happens. If you get hit, if the bat comes and hits you on your head and you can still get up, get your behind up, wipe your tears, wipe the blood off, put your clothes back on, just wash your face, put some oil on your face so that you're bright and springy. And so, you know what? It doesn't matter what you're going to do, because I'm going. If you're going to keep going, you're going to get knocked down. And if you're going to get knocked down, you're going to get up. Get up today with me. Walk with me, and let's account for our lives. Guys, I appreciate you for joining me for this episode of the I AFYL Podcast. Jay Moore, I was born for this. helping you to account for your life. God bless, and I'll see you on the next episode. Peace.
Thanks for joining us, listening friends. We are so glad you invested this time with us. Always remember, you only have one life to live, so live it to the fullest. This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.